Welcome back to my reading series of Paolo, The Restoration of a Childlike Optimism. I'm not wearing a hat today, but I have something on my head. So I am speaking English and I'm reading in English today. So yes, yesterday we learned that Frederick is on her way to see her cousin, which she hasn't seen for 4 years. We stop in front of a 4-story building with oxblood red half timbering. Cool, I say. I've always wanted to see the inside of one of the houses by the river's edge. Mama resolutely presses the top bell button and then we wait. Not even now do they leave me, but stand in front of me as if I were still 6 years old. Are you coming with me? I ask, holding the door open after the buzzer has sounded. My heart somersaults with nervousness. A generalized anxiety disorder is also one of the byproducts of MCAS, and no situations produce fear or muss. No, I can't do that now, Mama shakes her head. Tell him our regards. I understand why she said she can't do that now, when I'm panting up the stairs. So many floors. I need to pause along the way and look out of the hallway window, which unfortunately faces the street and not the river, which means the apartment will face the water. Even cooler. I spray with my inhaler, drink what's left of my takeaway cup to wash my mouth out, because the cortisone has a nasty side effect. Cortisone has nasty side effects if left in the lining of the mouth, and climb the rest of the stairs. I'm out of breath and a little sweaty when I get to the top, my Garmin watch beeping and buzzing because it finds the rate of my heart disconcerting. I ignore it and focus on the person standing in the doorway. Timo has grown, that's clear. He's taller than me, which is to be expected as the men in our family are all tall. The women too, apart from Liesel, who for some reason has grown shorter than everyone else. I remember the dark curls, but they're long now, and there's a short beard that hides his features. I definitely wouldn't have recognized him if he'd walked past me on the street. Too much has changed. I should have told you there's an elevator in the building, he says without a hello or how are you. Really? I gasp. No, not really, he grins cheekily at me. But let me know next time you want me to carry you up. I'll take your piggyback, no problem. I'll get back to that, I say, pulling my hat off and stowing it in my handbag. I look at him a little shyly and watch him step back to let me into the flat. I loop the mask straps over my ears and adjust the mask so it sits as close to my skin as possible before stepping into the apartment. But the flat smells okay. Not even a hint of perfume reaches my nostrils. No hard chemicals, no chlorine bleach or the odour of freshly applied paint. I slide the mask off, suck the air through my nostrils, taste it. Nothing. The air's clean except for a little dust and the remnants of the cooking smells from the day before. Timo was waiting, leaning against the hallway wall, watching me intently as I check my surroundings for toxicity. I threatened my roommates with a beating if they burned a single incense stick. You've always been a hero, I reply while shoving the mask into the insides of my handbag. When I turn to him, he pushes himself off the wall and opens his arms. Hey, cousin, he says. He smells wonderfully of nothing. I'm so grateful that he didn't soak himself in perfume like everyone else. I almost burst into tears with relief. But I swallow the hard knot in my throat and laugh instead. Look into his green eyes and rub his hairy cheeks with the palms of my hands. Look at that man beard, I exclaim. You can knit a sweater out of that. And look at you, he says, survivor of a terminal illness. I can see from his questioning expression that he's not sure if he's gone too far. I'm aware that you can see my illness, my hair not as full and thick as it was a year ago, the makeup that I now have to apply several times to cover scars and redness left by lump-like swellings, and the often bluish lips when I'd run out of air from the swelling of my lung tissue. But he doesn't seem to see all this. He holds my gaze, waiting for my reaction. I'm so surviving, I'm telling you, I shrug. I can't do anything else. He laughs and pulls me back against his chest, giving me another squeeze, then releases me and turns around, one hand in the pocket of his tan corduroy trousers and the other pointing towards the door at the end of the hall. "Welcome to my humble abode." I follow him down the hall. The white painted wooden floorboards complain under my boots, and into his bedroom. Like so many flats in the south of Marburg, this one has high ceilings and large windows. The light floods the room and streams over a desk stacked with books and folders, a shelf, a chest of drawers and a bed. Beyond the desk is a window, and beyond that is a river, grey and foamy in places, churned up by thick boulders stuck in the riverbed like the knees of a giant who lay down to sleep there centuries ago. Opposite the bed is a TV stacked on crates and 2 waist-high black loudspeakers to the right and left of it. "Proper speakers!" I exclaim. I kneel in front of one of the speakers and hug it, almost kissing it on its wooden laminated cheek. Timo presses play, and surprise, Paolo's voice echoes through the room. "She makes me smile. She thinks the way I am. That girl makes me wanna be better." I close my eyes for a moment, just listening, and then open my lids to catch Timo looking at me with a smile on his face. Paolo Nutini and I have history. I don't know how many countless love letters I have written to him, all deleted or torn up immediately, of course, because someone finding them after I nibbled off, "Hey, that must be avoided at all costs." I don't remember exactly which song flipped the Paolo switch. "These Streets," maybe, or "Alloway Grove." And then when I discovered his second album, of course, "Candy," and everyone loves "Candy" because, but there's also "Growing Up Beside You," "No Other Way," and "Coming Up Easy" that also takes your shoes off. Overnight, I became Paolo's biggest fan. His voice, his music changed me, opened my eyes, no, my soul. It brought a piece of heaven into my world. Only Beethoven had done that before him. "I didn't know you liked Paolo," I say. Timo picks up a CD cover from the stack of CDs that's shoved into the insides of the crates and holds it out to me. That's my handwriting on it. A bygone version of myself wrote on it with a thin black marker. "For the best guitarist in the world, Fred X. You gave this to me last time we saw each other." "Oh yeah, wow," I say, vaguely remembering Tante Nadia's 50th birthday a few years back. Although it's a trek from Berlin to Essen via the German railway system, I had to attend her birthday do. If I had missed it, it would have been the end of so many things. Tante Nadia is even feistier than Mama. I completely forgot. I look around the room searching. "Are you still playing?" "What?" "Guitar," I want to say, but then my eyes fall on a rectangular black box that's on the floor in front of the crates. "Your PlayStation!" I exclaim. "I can't believe Hanno and Michael let that out of their claws." "Just because Mama upgraded to the latest model," says Timo. "Man, I'm so jealous." For years, my mother successfully ignored Liesel and my almost daily pleas to get an Xbox V, PS or Nintendo. The only opportunity to play on a big screen was when we visited Aunt Nadia in the Ruhr area. We sit down on the edge of the bed and Timo turns on the PlayStation. The telly screen pops up and the well-known "Driven to Distraction" intro roars past us. Timo turns the volume down so that we can listen to Paolo singing in the background while we play and hands me a controller. "I checked Wikipedia. I hope you don't mind," he says, giving me a sideways glance. "Not that you think I'm stalking you, or rather your illness, but I, as a layman, know absolutely nothing about these things." I agree with him. He's far away from anything medical or medically complementary when it comes to his career choice. His controller between his hands, he sits next to me, eyes on the screen. "And? Are you impressed?" "Yeah, man, shit," he says, fingers on the levers. But then he reaches out and puts his arm around my shoulders, wordlessly pulls me to him, and even though we haven't seen each other in ages, it feels okay. We can just pick up where we left off last time, hanging out, having fun. We grew up together. We know everything about each other. Mama and Aunt Nadia made sure of it, these gossips. And although we've somehow always missed each other at family celebrations since I moved to Berlin and haven't spoken to each other for ages, I don't feel any embarrassment between us. I find myself relaxing, a sigh escaping my chest, and I rest my head on his shoulder for a moment. I missed you, I say, realizing only in the moment the words escape my lips that they are true. I've missed him. I've missed them all. These members of my family, my parents, Liesel, but also Tante Nadja and the boys who I hardly saw during the last 4 years. First, it was Mark's power of persuasion that had kept me rooted in Berlin. Then COVID, and after that my illness had prevented me from regularly travelling south. Me too, he replies simply. He plants a kiss on my hair and lets go of me to finish off my car, hands back on the controller. Ouch, I say. We play for a while. I'm completely out of practice. My vehicles are suffering miserably from Timo's attacks, who, despite continuously crushing me, is still cheering me on. Go sideways. If you step on the gas, you can still make it. How come you study here? In Little Marburg, I ask, pulling a face to show him clearly what I think of my hometown. On the TV screen, he's backing his truck into me. Why not? It's a great university and a beautiful town. But it doesn't have any city flair at all. I think of the wide streets of Berlin that I left behind, probably forever. That's because Marburg isn't a city, he grins. It has a small town vibe, so to speak. That makes me laugh. No shit, he says. When you come from a city like Essen, where people are constantly being beaten up or stabbed, you're glad to be able to cycle through the streets of such a nice little provincial town, undisturbed at any hour without being pulled off the bike and walked through the boot mill. I remember now, damn, why didn't I think of it sooner? He was in hospital for several weeks with a ruptured spleen. I remember visiting him there. His front teeth are implants, too beautiful to be real. And now that I look more closely at him, I can see a scar running along his jaw. Where the beard is parted, it looks like the photograph of a forest from above, with a river running through it. Nothing grows there anymore. A lifelong reminder of what has happened to him. I could kick myself for forgetting. Of course he studies in a town like Marburg if he gets the chance. He's had enough adventures to last a lifetime. The river's great, I say just to say something, to make it up somehow. I think it's great that people can swim in it. Yeah, me too, he agrees. And so many pubs. And the brush shop, he adds. And the cobblestones. You forgot the castle. Oh yes, of course, the castle. And the tower. Man, the tower anyway. We look at each other and he nudges me with his shoulder. I nudge back. What happened to your hair? He asks with a defiant glint in his eyes. Why? I act like I don't know anything. I have no idea what he's talking about. Did you get caught under lawnmower? I purse my lips and my voice sounds treacherously like Mama's when I, as so often, verbally stepped on her toes. No, I cut that myself, I say. Hairdressers are out, didn't you know that? He leans back, apparently relishing to tease me. His fingers play with the levers of the controller, but he doesn't look at the TV, which is anywhere on standby, but keeps his gaze challengingly directed at me. What do the hairdressers say about that? Oh, they're grateful, pretend. They're fed up with constantly touching greasy, rancid shacks and snipping their fingers. And what are they doing now? They sell wigs, I say with a grin, secretly looking forward to the punchline. To all the people who cut their own hair. He bursts out laughing, head thrown back. Then he leans into me, pushes me gently with his shoulders so that I fall backwards onto the bed, and then his fingers play guitar on my ribs like we used to do when we were kids. I fidget and giggle, try to push his fingers away or hold them trapped in mine, anything to get him to stop tickling me. He's so strong now that I can't even get a hold of him. He's winning, and I end up shouting, I give up, Grace. He finally leaves me in peace, and we fall onto the bed side by side. Lying lengthwise with a view of the ceiling, sharing his only pillow, we reminisce about the old days.